Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to look at solving formulas or equations for a given variable. So this requires that we take a formula and we rewrite it so that it is solved for one of the variables. To solve a formula or an equation for a specified variable, we use the same steps as solving for a linear equation. We're still going backwards through PEMDAS. So here's a whole bunch of formulas. There are times in our lives when we need that formula to say time equals or height equals. And so in order to be able to do that, you need to know how to solve these types of equations. So let's take a look at one. So if I'm trying to get B alone here, I need to remove everything that's being done to B. I've got two things happening. I have 12C being added, and I have 5 being multiplied. I'm going to go backwards through PEMDAS. So the first thing that I'm going to deal with is the addition or subtraction. I'm going to subtract 12C from both sides. 12C will disappear. I will be left with 5B equals 9 minus 12C. I cannot simplify this because they are not like terms, but I can leave it as 9 minus 12C. Now again, I'm still trying to get the B alone. It's being multiplied by 5. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. That gives me B alone, but I can't really do that division. I could do 9 divided by 5, but I'm going to get a decimal, and I don't want a decimal. I could do 12C divided by 5. Again, that'll give me a decimal. Don't want decimal. So I can leave it in that ugly fraction form because my goal was to get the B alone. B is alone, and it's equal to all of that. Why don't you try the next one on your own? Alright, so in the second one, you're solving for y this time. That's this one. Oops, I meant to grab the highlighter. Y, right there. Okay, so how do we get the y alone? Well, we can see that y is being multiplied by 17 and subtracted from 2x. So again, backwards through PEMDAS. I'm going to get rid of the 2x first because that's the thing being added or subtracted. That simplifies to negative 17y equals 13 minus 2x. Still trying to get the y alone. So now I need to do the opposite of multiplying by negative 17, which is divide by negative 17. That gives me y all by itself is 13 minus 2x divided by negative 17. The y is all by itself, and it is equivalent to that mess. Let's try another problem. Some of these are a little bit more simple, some are a little bit more complex, but these are some of the actual formulas. So in the green box, it says D equals R times T. Solve for T. So I'm trying to get the T alone. It's being multiplied by R, so I need to divide it by R. I can simplify that. The r's disappear from the right side, and I'm left with D divided by R equals T. T is all alone. Why don't you try the one in the orange box? So here, if I'm trying to get the H alone, there are two things that are being multiplied by H. Both the L and the W. So if I divide both sides by L and W,
then they will disappear. And I will be left with h is equal to v divided by LW. H is all alone now. Let's try the one in the blue box. Area equals 1/2 base times height. We're going to get B alone. In this one, we have a number. In others, we haven't had that many numbers. So if I'm trying to get the B alone, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that awful fraction. Now remember, I can either divide by 1/2, or that's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. In this case, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal because it's going to be cleaner, neater. The reciprocal is 2. 1/2 times 2 is 1, and it disappears. Multiply the other side by 2, that gives me 2a equals base times height. Now I'm still trying to get the base alone. Opposite of multiplying by the height is dividing by the height. That gives me 2a divided by h equals b. That one was a little tricky. Why don't you try the next one in brown? Give it a go on your own. Okay, so here I'm trying to solve for L. I'm trying to get the L alone. So I need to deal with the addition or subtraction first. So I'm going to subtract 2w from both sides. That gives me p minus 2w equals 2l. Again, trying to get the L alone, so I'm going to divide by 2. So L equals perimeter minus 2w divided by 2. Now let's think a little bit for what circumstances would I want to solve the equations like this. Most of the time, you can just plug in the information you know into the formula and solve for whatever is still a variable. Now, if I were to do several problems that all required me to figure out the time over and over and over again, it would be more convenient if it is written as time equals. So there's different cases for when you would want to do this and for when you would want to use the strategies that we used yesterday. So why don't you do some more practice with this? Always show your work. My Math Lab, Chapter 2-6, B.